what's going on? Thank you so much for watching today, and welcome to another Planet Zoo speed build. In today's video, I'm very excited to be building for the West African lion. Little bit of backstory for those of you that are new to the channel or are just catching this for the very first time. The African lion is my favorite animal ever. It always has been ever since I was little. I absolutely love lions, and I have put off building for them in Planet Zoo because I wanted their habitat to be perfect, and I just stressed about making a habitat that would be good enough for them, and the idea of just making like one singular habitat for the African lion. I don't know, it sounds silly, I know, but here we are today building for the lions. Basically, in short, because of peer pressure. My members on the Discord server, if you did miss it, we did a first episode where we built the restaurant aspect of this habitat, and when I put a picture of that restaurant on my Discord server, a ton of people said that the African lion would go perfect next to the structure that we had already built. And it got to the point where I just could not disagree with them. I could not put it off any longer, and I couldn't deny the fact that they were right. They were absolutely right. The African lion goes perfect next to our little restaurant. And I absolutely love the little eating area that I created that you can kind of sit and hang out and watch the lions. We end up putting some glass viewing right beside the eating area, and I do catch a little bit of it in the cinematic. One of the lions goes over and lays down right in front of the glass under the shade, and that's exactly what I wanted. I wanted to create an area where if this was a real life zoo, the lions would go to lay down, relax, take a break, and then they would be laying right next to the guests. So that's what we're doing today. We are starting off with the structure of the viewing area for the lions. This will be somewhere where you can walk up and view the lion habitat without sitting down at the benches to eat. I have to give a major shout out to one of my members on Discord, as well as a longtime subscriber and supporter here on the channel. Barini spent some time at the Columbus Zoo. Wow, now that I'm recording the voiceover, I forget what zoo it actually was. But long story short, they took some pictures of a real life zoo for me based on the reference picture that I used for the restaurant, because in real life, next to the restaurant that I was using the picture of, there is a lion habitat. So I used the reference pictures that they posted over on the Discord channel to make this shade structure, as well as it was some influence for some of the back wall structures of the habitat. So thank you so much, Barini. It was super helpful to have those real life pictures. And I hope I did them justice. I hope you can tell that I used the certain pictures that I used. But anyway, we're moving on to start a little bit of the actual enclosure itself here with the fences. So I used a combination of chain link as well as glass. This is something that at the San Diego Zoo, their lion habitat has some glass on the side where you can get up and obviously put your hands on the glass and be protected from the animals, but you get a really close-up view. But then if you go around to the side, there is chain link with a double fence so people can't put their fingers through the fence and lose their fingers. So that's where I got the inspiration for this. So a little bit of an area that you can view through the chain link, but I wanted to include that too because it is a more, I think, more interactive way to view the animals when there's just chain link. You can hear them, you can, you know, see what they're doing a little bit better, I think. So I wanted a combination too, just because it also gives a bit of difference in the texture, a little bit of variety in the barrier. So it's not all just chain link or all just glass. So I think it turned out really well. This enclosure I am building in stages, in the sense that I'm doing kind of this area over here, and then building it in kind of like sections. So instead of doing like the whole perimeter of the habitat and then the inside and then the you know, I'm doing kind of like little angles, I guess. So I'm doing the little viewing area first, then we move inside, then we do a little like implied. Of course it's implied because I hate building for the guests and or the keepers. I love building for the animals, but a little backstage like nighthouse for the lions. And yeah, so with this perimeter, this rock work is what is going to surround the majority of the habitat, using the gate from the Australia pack, which I actually haven't used in a really long time. But this fence, along with some of the rods in that pack that have this kind of rusted metal look to them, fit perfectly with the theming of the habitat. So that is meant to resemble some sort of hot wire or fencing to keep the animals from climbing and escaping. They are obviously a huge predator, huge in that they're obviously much bigger than us, and predator, so we want to make sure that they don't get out and eat our guests. So that is going to kind of simulate the fact that they would be kept in by the hot wire or the fencing, the extra fencing on there. And then moving on to the inside of the habitat, I end up using this log piece, which I haven't used in forever, as well as some rock work and the in-game Jeep piece, because the Wild Animal Park, or what's now known as the San Diego Zoo Safari Park, however, I've been going since I was a little kid, and it used to be called the Wild Animal Park, and that is always what it'll be meant, or always what it will be called in my mind. Those of you that are from San Diego will know exactly what I mean, if you're used to calling it the Wild Animal Park. But anyway, the lion habitat out there has a Jeep in it that the lions can kind of sit in, and I've seen this really commonly throughout other zoo enclosures as well, where they kind of put a Jeep that looks like the lions have kind of taken over a safari vehicle, and they get to kind of hang out and lay in it and stuff like that. Now, the lions in this game obviously don't do that. They don't use this at all, but I thought it was a cute little touch to make some interest in the habitat. I wanted to put this hill in the center of the habitat to kind of hide the backstage area. You'll see we're going to kind of continue these rocks around the side here and then make the implied backstage area. And so I wanted to make the center of the habitat kind of up on a hill because it kind of obstructs the view a little bit from where the guests are to the area where the lions are taken in and out of the habitat and where the keepers enter and exit the habitat. Now, this is the other part of the habitat that I used the reference pictures for, this little wall. So I'm making it out of obviously plaster pieces, but then using these decal pieces, which I do not use nearly enough. I need to use them more because they're absolutely fantastic. But to put some interest on this wall, a little bit of variety, looks like it's kind of chipped off in places, stuff like that. I still do need to add some of the decals to the restaurant building as well. And then I think I'll kind of color the restaurant building the same color as this wall. It's kind of more of a yellowy color, and I feel like it fits in a bit better. But this is the wall where we are going to have the door for the keeper to get out, as well as some little implied guillotine doors for the lions to be led in and out of. They obviously don't work at all. They're just the actual shutter pieces is what they are from the Europe pack, but it looks like the keepers could raise and lower them and call the lions in and out of their habitat because they would need that in order to safely enter and exit the habitat and clean and give food and all that kind of stuff, because in real life the keepers would not just meander into the lion habitat and do their cleaning with their little vacuum thingy. They would need to call the lions off of exhibit and then go in there and take care of them. In this one, if you did catch my jaguar video from Socorro Zoo, I did make little implied guillotine doors for them as well, but I ignored physics, I guess you could call it physics, and the little rails, or the little, what do you call those? Little cables that pull the doors up would not work at all because I didn't put them high enough. I didn't make that mistake in this one, so when we actually get to the little guillotine doors in a while, they actually would function as they should if they were in real life. Here I am stealing the rhino backstage building from the white rhino habitat we built when the Africa pack first came out because I already built it, and why build something again when you've already done it once? I felt like this definitely fit in with the theme of the area, had a little bit of patterning on the top that I didn't need to repeat. The only thing I did do was change the roof here. So I'm making this a flat roof. I feel like the flat roof really fits in with like the restaurant. And the thing, actually, now that I think about it, I totally forgot. I wanted to put some like air conditioning units and stuff like that on the top of this just to make it look like it actually had some sort of air conditioning or power vents or something like that. Just a little bit of detail, because the top of this building is definitely just a flat piece of plaster. And that's it. So I totally forgot to add that detail. I'll need to add it again. However, I will have the chance because this little project is not done yet. So that actually brings me to a point that I wanted to talk about. I talked about making this restaurant with a habitat that wraps around the restaurant itself in the first video. I changed my mind. So I changed my mind because I actually wanted to add 2 animals because I'm indecisive and I couldn't decide between the lion or the hyena. So I decided that the lions would go on this side and the hyenas would go on the other side. So there will be one other episode of this kind of little one-off. It's not really a zoo, it's just kind of a restaurant with habitats next to it. So there will be another episode, and we will be adding the hyena because I actually haven't built for the hyenas at all, and I feel like they would fit in really well on the other side of the restaurant. So if you remember from the first video, if you did watch it, there is an eating area on the other side of the restaurant on like a raised patio, and I need to incorporate that into a viewing area for the hyena. And so that's the plan. Right now we are kind of in the middle, like waiting game for a new DLC to drop. Right now recording this, it is the 13th of March, and basically any day we're waiting for word on a new DLC. So I have lost all interest in working on my actual parks. And I needed to work on something small and different from any of the other theming on my other projects, and so that's kind of what this is. I also wanted to do just some more building. I feel like I haven't put up many speed builds on the channel recently, and I need to get back to it. I just kind of was in a creative slump, and I'm coming out of that now, especially because I am highly anticipating a good pack coming out for the next DLC. I think it's going to be an animal pack. But I get excited about new animals because I love building for new species. So I'm really excited to see what it might be. Now, I have talked for so long. I do have some information up here on our lions, and I want to talk about them really quickly because, as I stated, they are my favorite animal. So let's do that real quick while we're finishing up the border of the habitat. So, African lions have been admired throughout history for symbols of courage and strength. These iconic animals have powerful bodies. They're only second in size to the tigers, so very big animals, and roars that can be heard from 5 miles away. An adult lion's coat is yellow gold, and juveniles have some light spots that disappear with age. That is my favorite part about lion cubs, is the little spots on their legs and their bellies. I think it's absolutely adorable. Only male lions typically boast manes, the impressive fringe of long hair that encircles their heads. Talking about their habitat, African lions once roamed most of Africa and parts of Asia and Europe, but the species has disappeared from 94% of its historic range and can only be found today in parts of sub-Saharan Africa. These lions mainly stick to grasslands, scrub, or open woodlands where they can more easily hunt their prey, but they can live in most habitats aside from tropical rainforests and deserts. Lions are the only cats that live in groups, which are called prides. Prides are family units that may comprise anywhere of 2 to 40 lions, including up to 3 or 4 males, a dozen or so females, and their young. All of the pride's lionesses are related, and the female cubs typically stay with the group as they age. Young males eventually leave and establish their own prides by taking over a group headed by another male. Female lions are the pride's primary hunters and leaders. They often work together to prey upon antelopes, zebras, and wildebeest and other large animals on the open grasslands. Many of these animals are faster than lions, so teamwork pays off. Female lions also raise their cubs communally. Threats to survive and a little bit of conservation. So let's see here. Today there are only half as many African lions as there were 25 years ago. The International Union for the Conservation of Nature, IUCN, many of you might be familiar with their red list that kind of lists each species' vulnerability or conservation status. Estimates that fewer than 25,000 lions remain in Africa, which is why the organization classifies them as vulnerable to extinction. African lions face a variety of threats, most of which can be attributed to humans. Fearing that lions will prey on their livestock, which can be a significant financial blow, ranchers may kill the animals both in retaliation and as a preventative measure, sometimes using pesticides as poisons. Poachers target the species too, as their bones and other body parts are valuable in the illegal wildlife trade. So no shocker there, right? Humans are terrible. We knew this, and lions are not immune to the effects of us. But that is a little bit about them. I don't have too much longer in the video, so I don't want to ramble on too long. If you guys have any fun lion facts, I would absolutely love to hear those in the comments below, because as I think I've said like 3 or 4 times now, they're my favorite species. I love them. So any information I would love to hear. Going back to the video and what we're working on, we've actually moved on and are making a custom sign. Actually, we're making a couple custom signs. This is something that I used to do a lot before we got billboards and before we got billboards. And now I'm actually just realizing I meant to put a picture of a lion on that billboard that's part of the sign, and I completely spaced out and didn't do it. So in the end cinematics, it is going to be just a blank billboard, but that's okay. I guess I'll update it in the next episode. That's the good part about having another episode to work on this. But anyway, my point being, making these custom signs out of art shapes, I think just adds a little bit of character to the build because it keeps with the theme. I struggle a little bit with sometimes the billboards can look too realistic in comparison to the in-game pieces and just kind of look out of place. Not always. There certainly are times where they look fantastic. But I love the look of the little art shape signs. I think it, like I said, I think it just adds some characteristic to the build. We're moving on to just kind of finish up this inside little seating area with the same fencing that we were using before, and then moving over to do some of the planting around the edge with just some of the same foliage that we've been using this entire time. We are nearing the very end of the video here. We've only got a couple more minutes, and then there are a lot of cinematics because I love this habitat so much. I took tons of little B-roll and cinematics for you guys, so I hope you guys do enjoy that. If you guys did enjoy the video, do consider leaving a like down below. It really does help me out, and I greatly do appreciate it. If you're interested in the next episode or any other Planet Zoo content, you can make sure you don't miss out by hitting that subscribe button. If you want to support the channel just a little bit more than that, there is a join button down below, as well as a link to a Patreon page, which is brand new, by the way. I just got that set up. And you can support the channel a little bit more there. Obviously, nothing is expected, and absolutely all support is greatly appreciated. And that's really all I have for you guys today. So again, thank you guys so much for watching. I do hope that you enjoy the little B-roll at the end, the little cinematics showing off our lions and their habitat. Any comments or feedback, go ahead and leave those down below. And I hope to see you guys in the next video. Thanks, guys. Bye.